Hello, Pete Tiliakos, Principal Analyst with NelsonHall, and I've just wrapped up the final day at the 16th Annual Cornerstone Convergence Client Event in San Diego, California. The event had over 2,000 participants on hand, representing 22 industries from 22 different countries. Really clear evidence of the platform's global presence at this point, which as of December 2017 is supporting about 3,300 clients across 36 million users in 192 countries. The theme this week was navigating the future, really drawing on the digital disruption, which is rapidly shifting us towards a skill-based economy, and the need to reskill workers as industries transition, which obviously requires the right talent management tools and technology to facilitate that as a business today. The week got started with CEO Adam Miller providing the analyst community with a lengthy brief. Cornerstone is in the midst of a strategic transformation. They branded that Cornerstone 2.0, and it's began just under a year ago now. And really are focused on rebalancing their revenue mix, eliminating their one-time revenues and shifting entirely to reoccurring revenue streams and improving their cost of sales and marketing. They've installed new leadership, new COO, new CMO, even a new chairman, splitting that away from the CEO and chairman role, and have reorganized and focused their sales team to align specifically towards that reoccurring revenue goal. Obviously, the big piece of this includes the exit from services. In other words, they're no longer going to provide implementation for the platform, and instead are leaning entirely on its key SI partners like an IBM, Alight Solutions, Deloitte, etc., which I think is going to support them well as they scale. And we'll see how that goes in the coming quarters. That was just announced in Q4 2017. In terms of new recurring revenue streams, they're specifically doubling down on learning content with Content Anywhere, subscription-based on-demand learning content offering. Learning today is 50% of their recurring revenues, and they're already leading as a platform. Their thought, why not lead as a content provider? And they really want to be that Netflix of corporate learning subscriptions. The content play too, I think, is interesting. It kind of brings them full circle, gets them back to their roots, their old Cyber U days where they originated. And this week they did announce 4 to 5 new content partners for that offering, and I expect you're going to see quite a few more going forward. Another key focus area is recruiting. The module adoption has been extremely strong. They have 700 clients for recruiting, but candidly, they're just not known as the top recruiting player, and that's something they plan to aggressively address in the coming year, targeting their client base for expansion, as well as offering the module as standalone for new customers, and working on that marketing perception to communicate that out to make sure that it's clear that they are a recruiting leader. Another key area for them is EMEA. It's a growth market there for them, particularly for the core HR offering. Right now, EMEA is 30% of revenues, and in particular, that HR module is doing quite well. It's had about a 50% uptake in the region, and they've signed multiple client wins, in both the mid-market and large market space in France, Benelux, UK, etc. Fundamentally, with the offering, they're targeting global organizations that need digital transformation right now. Those that are running disparate systems but want to have best-in-class talent capability that can sit on top of their systems or even act as the system of record and will integrate well across existing HR landscapes. That'll remain focused as an EMEA offering right now. There's no short-term intent to bring that to the U.S., although I think it's very clear they will do that longer term as they continue to develop momentum in EMEA. They made it very clear to the analyst they're not trying to go head-to-head with SuccessFactors or Workday for core HR. They're not an ERP play. They really are playing in that niche space where they feel those competitors aren't playing. My opinion, let's face it, given the competition in the U.S., it will be a challenge for the product. The competition's stiff, and Cornerstone fundamentally isn't known for core HR. However, that said, they are a leader in talent management. They're recognized as a leader. In fact, they candidly mentioned that they really don't come up against Workday in competitive talent management bids. So, all that said, with their modular approach and the strength in talent management, and if they focus on that niche, I think they're in a really good position. If it's marketed and presented correctly, I think they'll get some good traction there. On the product update side, they have streamlined the offering down from 28 options down a year ago to just 4 now. Obviously, the recruiting, learning, performance, and HR segments. Overall focus for the product and the roadmap in general really revolves around integration across the modules. Really tightly keeping those tightly integrated across platform. They're really personalizing the user experience through AI and ML and embedding analytics throughout. but also starting to bring in more data science. So I think you're going to see more of that as you go along. And there's an extreme focus, their words, extreme focus on user experience, including mobile. In other words, today they're seeing 50% of platform transactions come by way of mobile, and thus they're focused on a fully mobile offering there across all modules. And then lastly, they're very focused on their extensibility, being able to play well with their partners and other systems. In terms of what's new, in the recruiting side, you saw a new candidate experience, much more consumer-grade user experience there. The recruiter experience as well was redesigned. It's now a single sort of page, kayak style, like the travel site where you can sort of see all of your candidates, see all of your options. And they're really bringing in automation there, things like recommending candidates that may be applied for other roles but are a fit for the one that's being sourced now. And those features really came across well with the practitioners that I spoke to in recruiting. From a learning perspective, obviously the focus here is around the learning playlists and the support of the content anywhere. With the playlist now, you can add internal and external content. You can share your playlist, follow other playlists, update playlists. It really reminds me a lot of a Spotify or even any sort of music subscription experience. And again, the design is around that content delivery for learning. So overall, great event. I had a chance to speak to a handful of customers throughout the week, both public and private sector, large, small, mid-market. What really came through was not just the talent capability, which you would expect, but really just talked about how much they appreciate the flexibility of Cornerstone On Demand, both as a platform, but also as a provider. They really felt like their needs were met and that they will be met in the future. So I thought that was very positive and resonated with me as I spoke to them. I would have liked to have seen them unveil some new features, but in fairness, the May release may have stole that thunder a bit. One next-gen item that they did show was something that Cornerstone is calling data stories, essentially a video-audio readout, sort of exec summary, if you will, of key analytic reporting accessible through an NLP type technology and on mobile. So definitely a step in the direction of conversational HR and something I'm sure we'll see in the longer term. As always, I really appreciate your viewing, and for more technology and outsourcing insights like this, feel free to follow me on Twitter at @PT_NH. Thank you.